same property owner on both sides, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying here, this development here, here's the visitor center, here is, I don't know how we get to this, I don't see it big enough. This is what the
And
one
all I
abandoned.
want to do is just add this to their property.
Yeah, but if you block that off, that's only access to here maybe.
For who?
I don't know.
Future development.
Yeah, I can't say, oh, now you can't go through here because we have to have some type of access somewhere. I mean, if they went to abandon this, it would be okay if they already had an access here.
Okay,
To
it's
not
landlocked,
landlocked,
the main point right there.
That's what,
Yeah,
So we don't know what's beyond there.
yeah, here's the visitor center. But I know there's a road coming in here, but I don't know if that connects here right to it. Is that public domain or, yeah, public domain, is it?
it
Or is
does
it
say
private?
on the recommendation, it says, potential impacts of development. It says granting of abandonment will not have any negative impact on access to adjacent properties.
What is it?
US Forest Service.
Yeah, that could be a real problem.
Yeah,
I mean, you get dealing with the Forest Service,
yeah,
I don't that on my life.
that was not listed here, everyone, the other agencies were, but, yeah. I wonder if we can just,
Is that all Forest Service over there?
The big parcel it's about, 235 acres in that one parcel that would begin right north of what we're talking about.
So, if it's Forest Service, nobody's gonna never get to do anything anyway.
Right, yeah, it's never gonna be sold
It's-
or developed.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be a problem, because
okay,
you can,
Yeah, in theory, it's almost
Yeah.
a good thing, yeah.
yeah, so, okay. Now I know that, I just thought if it's private, it would,
yeah, that's a great
somebody
point to bring
would.
up, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay, and all in favor? Or, yeah. Second, sorry.
Okay, Jess moves and Leah seconds. And all those in favor of approving this, say aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Now we move on to
Now we are on to the garage.
Yes.
item.
application for variance. Applicants wish to move the garage they are constructing forward 5 feet. This would not meet required setbacks. Property address and or general location 182 Fay Avenue, Ely, Nevada. The assessor parcel is 001-123-18. Applicants are Kelly and Linda Cartwright. And
It's already, yeah, it will be. They just have to cut that off. Do we want to just leave it how it is? And if it is, then we could have to come back up.
This is the one where you support the apartment.
Because they have a schedule.
Yeah.
You have a schedule.
Yeah, it seems that my packet.
I was reading, I would just leave it.
These
Unless
items.
there's
Oh, really? Well, I print mine out.
Yeah, I
Sit
know.
on top of it.
Of course, my brother died.
There isn't any way to move that back.
Well, I think, have you been by Fay Avenue? It seems they've got, they've built up the land back there, they're putting in retaining walls over the back. And they want to
It's
allow access to their basement. That's why they need to scooch it forward 5 foot. So instead of 20 feet setback, it'd be a 15 foot.
find it somewhere, I read where they stated different areas had different amounts of setback. Some down to 12 feet, and they're one to 15 feet. And with that retaining wall there, don't look like we've got a whole lot of choice.
Yeah, I drove by there.
I noted too that the house next door to them is set more closely to the road than where their current garage is right now. So moving it forward 5 foot and actually put it even with where the house next door is actually sitting.
I guess being new to this, what things do you consider when you have a request like this for zone variance? I mean, do you-
These are things that are all stated in the zoning requirements
Yeah.
and for the special uses and such. Those are all items that I've sent that outline those things.
Yeah, what has to do too with how it would impact a neighbor or impact any further street development and so forth, if there's any expansion that's gonna happen from the street. And so, but I can also see from looking at the guy's property, in fact, he's got a pile of cinder blocks in the back, and he's also got a lot of gravel for putting in base against a retaining wall. So it's, a retaining wall is gonna go behind where the garage is and then jog in and allow access down below ground level into his basement area. So, not moving it forward would cause a problem with that access. That's kind of what I'm figuring.
And that's what he stated to me, that he was going to put that retaining wall there and put the garage forward on that. And that was for better access to the basement.
Yeah. And he would be, right now, the current garage is about 2 feet off the fence line. He's gonna move this in 5 feet in from that neighbor's fence line, so which is that is the setback required.
So it's fixing it on one side, asking for variance on the other.
Yeah, he just did mainly from the front variance. He's more than happy to comply with the north side of the garage. It's just that south side that is or the west side.
And he did send a message saying he's available by phone if you have questions for him, so.
When we put the two before, we're seeing two variances too much, get two black days over, like I said. But if you go down and look at, some of those are 5, 10 feet off, 12 feet off. Now you try to look at consistency. I mean, is
Right.
it doing anything to distract from the properties that's doing something to make it unsafe? They're already out there.
I know.
And I know we have, setbacks that have come after the fact, these people are grandfathered, but if it's helped someone improve the property and it isn't really a deterrent, I don't know where that stands on where we say this arbitrary 20 feet. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing, is that we're dealing with an area that is, there's a lot of things grandfathered in that don't go with the current code. And so we kind of have to look at that too, you know, and not single anyone out. I did drive by and look at it, and he's doing a major improvement. I mean, this is gonna be very nice,
Yeah, it's gonna look nice.
a lot nicer than what it is currently. And I do understand, his point of having enough room to access through the back, and I'm with you, John. Just by looking at the, properties next to there, they're very close to the street, so, you know, it would be kind of like,
This one's not gonna stick out like sort of from next
No.
to
no,
the side.
not at all.
Absolutely not.
This would be a huge
If
improvement.
anything, it's gonna come up even with the next door neighbors.
Microphone over.
So,
Yeah, when we look at those, we found so many of these where we went look in Buzz region and looked at stuff, and Kennecott had stuff, and the people aren't even on the property. I mean, they went on the fence line, so everybody went down the fence line. Then they're all out the street 10 feet. I mean, you start looking, you can't move, so it's, and then when we looked at the streets, and I'm not saying this happened on this one, but everything we looked at when we built the power lines, we had curb gutter sidewalk because the city didn't want to have added expense and more asphalt. You know, if you have enough room on the street, you don't need a 100-foot street, maybe you only need the 60, maybe 70, whatever, and you would do that. But like these, you're not doing anything with the street, but you're doing a quasi alignment that you're not going, these people are 20 feet out, and this one's 15, everybody else is 20, you know, they're already 10, 12 feet away.
And unfortunately, it's the people who are doing the right thing by putting in their application and asking for a variance, whereas, you know, everyone else on the street didn't do that and they just got away with it, so.
Well, they might have done it
yeah.
years ago, and there was
Or
no
it was, right,
Yeah,
it's just
it
kind
was
of
pre-
grandfathered in and.
pre-rules,
Yeah.
so,
I mean, the current garage that's on there looks like it was vintage Kennecott mining.
yeah. So I don't know what you got the legal end and you got the aesthetics end and the
Right.
safety end.
And the practicality of what's the
And they're-
area really looks
And
like.
they're not moving it straight up to, they're not cutting off a lot of that variance. They're just only 5 feet off of it. And it puts it even with the next door neighbor, so that visually and
Right.
aesthetically, it looks okay.
Well,
Can I ask you a quick question? I may have missed it, but did we call for the public hearing on this item? I may have missed it.
Yeah, initially, but,
Oh, there was no
And
one.
there was none.
no.
Okay.
I
Just
didn't see
checking.
anybody jump forward on that one.
Okay, just checking.
He didn't ask.
He didn't ask? Would
He
you like to
didn't.
say something, Bruce?
Yeah,
I really don't have a problem with this, you know, 2 structures have gone up, no variance. No public hearing. Again, we either have rules or we don't. That happened with the old building inspector, not Craig. But I don't have a problem, pointing out if it's Craig's duty, but we gotta stop that. Not that, oh, we didn't have an inspector at that time, yeah, you did. But I don't have a problem with this. I'm just,
You're talking about this that we're talking about right
I
now.
don't have a problem with this, but your procedure needs to be consistent, that's all I'm saying, period, and it isn't. Thank you.
Ron, you had some comments about, you started to make a comment about this one, with the driveway and the 20 feet.
There wouldn't be any actual building in the alley. It's just that they've only got 15 feet to where the garage is from the alley. You know, I don't see the problem giving up that.
Yes, I agree with you, I don't see a problem either.
Yeah.
I think we need to be, very positive about people who are willing to put their sweat, money, and tears and everything to improve these neighborhoods, and this is one of those cases, it's just a little variance, that really wouldn't affect much of anything.
The overall improvement is gonna be quite a bit for the neighborhood.
yeah, and I see public works, sheriff, building department, everybody approved, city attorney saying there is an exceptional, extraordinary condition, and I see, you have to go with that, sir. We say 20 feet. We don't have anything exceptional, extraordinary, but kind of aesthetically, it's, I mean, we're not doing anything out of the ordinary what's already there.
Yeah.
Right, so I think it really depends on, what subdivision you're looking at, because this is an older, subdivision we're dealing with. If we were dealing on the other end with new build homes, then it's kind of a different animal,
Yeah.
you know, so.
You know, you can envision things that may happen, like, now, where was I going? If their habit is to park in their garage, this would never be a problem. If their habit is to park outside of the garage, then 5 feet of their car is in the alley. And that puts themselves in a problem, and so, you know, how much of that we can talk about, or,
Well, there's a lot of issues in the neighborhood, I know, cause I have a building in the street over, and, there's a lot more issues than that, just all the parking, I mean, there's no parking areas, and, you know, having to park right on the corner, which is illegal, but there's no parking, you know, there's a lot of issues there.
Well, what's the standard length of a 1959 Cadillac? You know,
20 feet plus.
yeah. That's very rare these days.
All right.
Right. No, that's a great point, but yeah, if you look in the area, just to have a parking garage in itself is a huge improvement.
Yeah.
Get some of those, you know,
Yeah,
cars
for the
off the road.
neighborhood is a big improvement.
Because those homes were built without garages, you know, so it's a great improvement to see people putting them in.
It's a risk they're taking, it's not a public risk, the way I look at it.
Yeah,
No.
right. Yeah, I have to say, I'm all for this. I wish we'd see more of this, to be honest with you. It's just I mean, he is reconciling, you know, the side where it's not to code. He's just needing to,
Yeah, he's falling into code on his, on the fence line side, so he's respecting that. Just needs that space off the back retaining wall to be able to have the garage there, otherwise there's the access to the basement.
15 feet, what do you have to say? What do you think?
If the commission believes that there's exceptional and extraordinary conditions to approve, I think that.
I just have to say, I do think there is an extraordinary condition. I share that same alleyway, and it's very, very tight. And, you know, it's hard to even just turn in, so you do need that room in the back.
Yeah.
So I do see his point on that.
Leah, you gotta start speaking up.
I
It's what the
apologize.
microphone's for.
All right, yeah. I do
We got it
see-
just for you.
Thank you, George.
You're quite
Yeah,
welcome.
I do see an extraordinary reason to do this, because the alleyway is very slender and it takes a lot of room to turn in. So I would move to approve this item. I'm all for it.
I'll
If-
second that.
Okay, Leah moves to approve it, and you second. Let's take this to a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes all the way around? Pass unanimously.
If I could recommend that the commission go back to item D1. I was informed that those generally are recommended to the county commission. And the way that this reads is that it's just a straight approval. It was already voted on, but perhaps we can amend to recommend to the county.
Okay.
So Jesse, you made the first on that, so if you wanted to amend your motion to make it a recommendation
Okay, which one was
to
that?
approve to the county commission. Item D.
That was the easement, abandonment of the easement.
Correct.
Which one, A or
Item D,
Item D.
1B.
OB?
Testing? Okay, I really have to put my mouth close to this, okay.
D1B,
Yeah, item D, 1B.
I made the motion. With,
So just, motion to approve,
To recommend.
to recommend to the city,
to final approval of the county
to
commission.
the county commission, right?
Correct.
Okay. So done.
Second that.
So you have a motion to approve it, to recommend it to the county commission.
We're approving them to go forward to the county commission for final approval.
And I think think I seconded that, did I?
Yes, you just did.
Okay, there we
Okay.
go.
Okay, then in that case, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. It passes.
So a vacation or abandonment roads easement has to have the county commission?
I need to look into it personally, but I was informed that generally in the past, those have been recommended to the commission.
We had the final say in regards to the Perigo. That came before, you know, where you just did this, the abandonment of the road the old road that was in the fields from the meeting before. That went before the county commission. And as Buzz had said, that was already done. So
Okay.
but that had also gone before the county commission as a recommendation by this board for approval.
Okay.
And there's
Thank
an
you.
ordinance that is, it was written into the ordinance, for the planning commission, that they do not have authority basically to give away land.
Oh,
So any land that is up for grabs on these abandonments, we just recommend approval or not on these. And we present
Okay.
our findings to the county commission or the city council for their findings.
Okay, so if someone comes in, if someone comes in now, and I have someone that wants to do an abandonment that they just call me and have me go look at, it should go to the county first?
No.
Or come to us and have a recommendation
Yes.
of approval to go to the county?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanna get that right, cause I don't wanna have them waste their time.
Just out of curiosity, so it's not a different issue being that they own both properties or parcels? No?
No.
Okay. That's good to know. Thanks.
Okay. And so we're down to variance, okay, we go to item E. Building official Peterson, discussion only, status update of any changes made or being made to the floodplain designation in central Ely, by FEMA or other responsible agencies.
Good evening, thank you. This item was, agenda item was suggested by a very concerned citizen who wanted an update, so I'm here to provide that. I received word from BJ Hallberg, the city engineer, that no floodplain modifications have been submitted to FEMA for review. The requested revision cannot be submitted until 100% of the storm drain is complete, and what was completed last year was only phase 1. And we have an estimate of 2025 to 2026 for an estimation as far as when that update is going to be taking place. And that's when all the storm work will be finished.
So FEMA won't even look at this until all
Correct.
that work's complete.
Correct.
So is this also in reply to George's letter here that he says requesting an update, the status of any change regarding the area affected by the floodplain designation in central Ely by FEMA?
Correct, he was the concerned citizen.
Okay.
Well, thanks, George.
The angry citizen, by the way.
I think it's good to have an update on that, so, yeah.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Okay. Item F. Discussion of possible recommendation regarding the adoption of uniform building and zoning codes between City of Ely and White Pine County. Any points that come up since?
I don't have any.
None? Zero? Jesse?
They're both adopted,
Okay.
right? That's what you're saying, it's regarding its adoption of both city and county, are both gonna go with the uniform building code?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of cohesiveness between what's described in zoning and what's described in usage and so forth, so there's,
So when it says discussion for possible recommendation, what does that mean to us?
So this is,
Yeah.
So this is an agenda item for you guys to come forward with anything that you may have heard from contractors or concerned citizens about either the building codes or the zoning codes, issues that they might be bringing forward that have not been recognized by the board at this time, or they would like to see discussed.
Okay.
So that's what that is on there for, and if there is something that needs to be looked at and you want to move forward with any changes, that's what the recommendation is on there for. Ordinances would have to be drafted and such, and then they would have to be recommended to go before the planning commission or the city council at that time.
So it'll always be on here to give us
It'll
the
always be
opportunity
on
to
there
discuss.
just for that reason,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, and I remember us discussing that last meeting, and aren't you guys working on putting, I know there's a lot of discrepancies between the different, uniform and city.
Right, the building codes are being worked on between both the city and the county, just to try to make things more uniform.
I think that's great.
And so when a person buys a piece of property, there are no surprises. They know what it's zoned for, but also what its usage is for.
Well, I know other people, when they take a power, they'd be going in, it's, well, it's just on the city property here, and then my adjacent property's out the county, two different zones, and maybe I'm crossing it, I mean, seemed like a nightmare all the time.
Yeah.
Cause they didn't know, I gotta go here, I gotta go here, and this one's telling me this one's telling me that, what do I need?
Right, right.
Tell me what I
Yes.
need, cause it just delays their whole process, months and months, and money.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Craig's working on that, I guess we kind of touched on that a little bit, yeah, that'd be great.
Sure, I can.
Cause that isn't big issue.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the drive of this entire thing, the county, the city, I just want to get everybody on the same page so everybody has even expectations, and that was kind of the intent of it. There was some different language between the ordinances, between the county and the city as far as what was adopted, and I just wanted all that to be the same. So, but as George pointed out, there is a rule that says if the city has more stringent codes than the county, then those apply within a mile radius of the city border. So he's absolutely correct in that, and that's kind of the way that I've been proceeding since I've been here for any development that's near in the city. So, but yeah, generally speaking, that was the intent.
And since you bring that up, I guess, maybe I don't have an issue, right? I think I do here. When you're within a mile of the city limits, but you only have to send out letters if you're with 300 feet or anything?
For different changes, various
Different
changes,
change,
correct.
different things. But I know when we built, we were within a mile of the city, and they annexed some of the school property, the Head Start, and then the, what's the other one? Yeah, the Head Start and the charter school, so within the city limits, so that put us within a mile of the city limits, and they said we had to adhere to city code, well, there's,
For you,
yeah.
your grandfather did
But
with
no
what
one
you have.
informed anybody, we never got a letter, we never got anything, and we
Okay.
were actually sucked into that mile.
Mhm.
You're
with-
surprised.
With no information, no forewarning, no nothing.
Sure.
And when they did it, I thought, yeah, that'd be good, that little school there and this and that. It did add to traffic, and it did add, I think there's some safety issues on that road. But when they did that, we found out, hey, we're within a mile, now we're under the city,
Mhm.
or not county. And
Only because
I
that
think-
property was annexed after you had already purchased and lived there for quite some time.
Gotta
But
speak up.
that's what I mean, we were already there, and they annexed it in, and now, am I under the city or am I under the county? Because I was there before.
According to the NRS, you would be under the city building codes for any project that
For
was.
setbacks or anything?
No, not the zoning, it's just the building codes themselves. The setbacks are still determined by the
Okay,
county.
so your building codes, are we with NEC 2007, 12, 21, where are we on codes?
And that's part of the reason we're trying to bring these things together.
Yeah,
I've got about 11 different codes between the city and the county that are completely different. So that's what we're working on. In the city, the current ordinance is I believe the language states that goes with whatever the currently adopted state code is. The state stopped adopting codes a number of years ago. There's different entities within the state that have building codes, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. As far as what we're officially under at the moment, I've been operating under the same thing that Brad operated under. That was the 2018 IRC for all of the 2011 NEC.
Right, and that's where we would go with the NESC on our side, and then you'd have the NEC or the IRC on UBC to IRC, and we would say, try to get the most current, just to make sure you're covered.
Mhm.
I mean, even though you're grandfathered in, you might just go with the most current code, because there's usually a